Copilot-in-waiting Whimsy is having some diarrhea.
Then we're out here in Seattle and we're still 18 hours away from them. And we've got a bunch of activities lined up for a GoRUFFLY Pilgrimage. So we're trying to come up with some ways that maybe Greg goes back earlier so that he can watch her and both go back early. I don't know, but we still need to figure it out. Hi guys, and welcome to episode 2 of A GoRUFFLY Pilgrimage.
And welcome to our yurt that we're staying at in Northern California, where it's really foggy out and soon to be raining from this tropical storm that's coming through. So, interior setting for this one.
Yeah.
In this episode, it really all begins at the campsite just outside of Enumclaw.
Yeah, where Greg, again, is defaming me. I think this is in every episode I'm being defamed, and this one particularly so.
I don't think it's defamation if it's merited. But
then we head on to the King County Fair, where we go and see Sara Carson. Sara Carson, she has her Supercollies, and they're famous all over the world of doing all of these different types of canine agility, canine tricks, stunt dog type work.
Yeah, really something impressive and wonderful to see. Meanwhile, though, we're having a little bit of some issues back in Los Angeles, which is where K9 Copilot-in-waiting Whimsy is waiting for us.
Yeah.
And having a little bit of an illness.
Yeah.
So that's going on while we're doing all of this. And then from there, we head over to Wilderness Air Scent, so search and rescue.
Yeah.
And we're going to meet some, really Three Musketeers, heroes of that.
Team. Mm-hmm.
Just absolutely fantastic. So stick around. Everybody got a little bit crabby this afternoon. Probably lack of sleep, maybe being hungry, all the usual suspects. And by everybody, I mean Jess. And probably also Moxie and Spirit, let's face it. She was a good one to get crabby from time to time. And so at one point, one or the other or both of us will say, okay, let's truce it. For Moxie.
Not on me.
But this time, Jess decided to accept the truce and then to just keep holding a grungy.
Tasty.
So let's just give her a little bit of space. We'll go over to the camp host. It's supposed to burn. And see about paying. And maybe when we get back, she'll really be prepared to accept a truce. There's people that are just starting dinner right now. They're just firing up their grills. We've eaten, we've brushed teeth, we've mostly washed faces, and it's just time to shut it down. We have a big problem this morning. Huge. Our portable espresso maker suddenly has just died. We're having to get creative. So what I've done, the coffee grinds are all just here. I've taken my neck gaiter thing, I've washed it first, and now I'm gonna use that as a strainer. It's bad. It's getting all over. Fuck. Now it's running down the table. Shit. Why is Jessica in such great and high spirits? Because we slept for 12 hours. We went to bed, it was to 8 o'clock, we fell right asleep, and we woke up at 8:15.
Oh, was it 15? Okay.
So today, we head back into Enumclaw for another event. That event is
the K9 Stars Show. We're at the King County Fair, which is where we're going to see Sara Carson, who has her Supercollies. This is going to be a really fun one because she's doing an actual live show that we're going to be able to watch, and then we'll be able to speak with her as well.
Fun factoid, the King County Fair is apparently the oldest fair west of the Mississippi. Also, what the hell is a factoid? Isn't it just a fact, or is it so insignificant that it's an oid?
My
My name is Sara Carson. I perform with a stunt dog team pretty much full time and travel all across the country and I guess North America performing with my dogs. I started training dogs when I was about, oh my goodness, 11 years old. I watched a YouTube video and I thought it was the coolest thing. It was actually agility that I watched. Okay. And so I had a little spaniel, family dog that I decided to train to do agility. I thought it was super fun and something that I could do at home, and it just ended up becoming this.
I don't know how he pulled that one off, but he just skimmed that bar.
Most of the dogs are really, really strongly toy motivated. So we tend to use, I think you watched, I was doing a frisbee with my golden. He loves his frisbee. And then we do try and incorporate treats and food reward, mostly for trick training, because when you use toys, you're kind of in a higher state of arousal, so you don't want that when you're trying to train something new. So it's a mixture of toys and treats, but it's very much positive. So whenever I find a dog, whether it's in rescue or being rehomed, I want to see the dog pulling on a leash in a new environment. Are they scared? Are they nervous? Like that kind of thing. I want to see if they're taking food, playing with toys, being engaging to the person that they're with, and then honestly just making sure they're fine with dogs and making sure they're fine with dogs and people. Boy, ready? Over. Yeah, buddy! I x-ray my dogs.
Okay.
So I make sure that they're fit to do this, especially when I adopt a new dog. I want to make sure that they don't have any underlying condition. All of my dogs are on supplements for their joints, but I've never had a dog have any issues. I mean, Hero is 11 years old and he's retired because of a heart condition.
Oh, wow.
Not because of anything related to hips and joints. Sit, stay, hop. We don't have a very strong relationship. I have definitely strong relationships with a couple of my other dogs, but we have a good working relationship. I mean, he goes out there and he's not really looking at anybody else except for me, and he wants to do the thing that we're doing. So yeah, and I don't think that you have to have a super strong relationship with a dog. It's just a matter of like respect. It's like, do you want to do the thing that we're doing? And if you don't, then we find a new thing for you to do. Yeah!
Something that Sara shared after the show with me really touched me. She was talking about Loki, one of her collies.
He got sick at 2. And it was a undiagnosed autoimmune disease. Spent like $35,000.
Oh, no.
Multiple vets, no answers, and then I had to eventually the steroids stop working.
And she had to put him down. And you know, he was a fantastic dog for her. He'd work for her. He just loved to be in the shows. And it really touched me after thinking about the connection I had with Moxie and riding with her and being together all the time. There was just that parallel there, and I could just see it in the way that Sara shared the story about how much Loki meant to her.
You want to talk about a bond? I picked him up and I was like, this is the dog, man. I love this dog. Augie, you're nuts. You're a wild boy.
In addition to spending some time with Sara, we actually got to see some riders do some great trick riding, some big leaps. Big leaps. And there's a whole lot of county fair left, but we gotta press on because where are we going next?
Eugene, Oregon.
Eugene, Oregon for our next event. Meanwhile, we have trouble back in Los Angeles where Copilot-in-waiting Whimsy is having some diarrhea. And at the same time, my dad, who's watching over her, is under the weather.
We're out here in Seattle, and we're still 18 hours away from them. And we've got a bunch of activities lined up.
And so we sort of had a bit of a flashback to Moxie, right? When she was in her surgery, and we were a 3.5-hour drive in Panajachel away from the capital where she was. And it seemed harmless enough, right? But in the end, those 3.5 hours were real significant and made us feel like we were far, far away from sort of where we needed to be. So it is looking like I'm gonna have to split off after the next couple of events and continue south at a faster clip while Jess continues on for an additional event and then meets me down in LA.
This is really the first time we're actually staying in an RV. We've stayed in a bus, converted, and now this is our first RV stop, but it looks really cute, and it's on this property here, and they have a horse that we can feed, supposedly. So it's just nice to be out of the town. Oh. There you go.
Jess, hey.
Well, he just like lifted it out of my hand.
It's all lips.
A lot of rumination. Today we're going to meet with Jen and Joel. Jen has a dog that does wilderness air scent, and Joel does article detection. We pulled in here, we're early, and as we parked, what do we see? There are peacocks. It's so random. There are a bunch of peacocks. There's a bunch of males and one female. We had a few nuts, so we shared them, and now they have become our buddies and are just hanging around with us.
Article search is whether you're looking for items that somebody has dropped or firearms that they've dropped, knives, anything that may have human scent on it or the odor of firearms. So they call us in and they need some extra help in evidence searches. You know, those are cases that are very, very tight-lipped. Nobody talks about them. They won't leave your side when you lose control. This is Otis. He's still at the beginner stage.
Okay.
I'm taking it nice and slow with him. I want him to get the foundations down because you've got to get the foundation in the dog for them to remember. I figure it's probably going to take me a good year to get him trained to where he is on point, but his expertise won't come into play for maybe another year and a half. What I'm concentrating now is on shell casings.
Oh, okay.
The shell casing, after it's been fired, has a certain smell to it. And even the oils off of cleaning a gun on a cloth have that same scent. So when he was little, I'd take a 38 shell and I'd put it in his nose and tell him 38 because that's his command. So he gets used to that smell, and I'd do that 2 or 3 times a day. Now I just hide shell casings in my shop. I've got oils and metals and everything else in there. So he's got to distinguish between those. And I'll take an individual case and put it maybe on top of a bucket and let him see if he can hone in on where it's at, or I'll take a bag of shells and put them on the floor behind something. He'll go find them, and when he does, he sits. You're building that bond, and now if I take off with the other dog, he absolutely raises Cain. So's the other one too. You gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel all right.
My name's Linda, and this is my dog Riddle. We do search and rescue, human remains detection, and her forte is working off a boat.
Off a boat?
Off a boat, yes.
So in the water?
Finding drowning victims.
Wow.
Yes.
How did you get involved in that?
So I've been a part of search and rescue for 25 years now. I got a chance to go train over in Idaho, and she just took to it.
Really?
She just loves it. And she likes to walk the edges of the zodiac. Oh, you're brat. It's just like the scent on the land.
Okay.
But you just transfer it over to the water.
And they can smell it if the person's drowned in the water?
Yes, they can come.
Oh my gosh.
She drives the boat. If she's on the left side of the boat, the driver will go slowly to the left. If she moves back over, it's to the right.
Wow.
If she goes to the back of the boat, we just missed them. So we're marking all of her change of behaviors throughout that.
Okay. And then if she like identifies something, she'll
bark.
Okay.
Yeah, or sit.
Okay.
So it just depends on what position she can get in
on
at
the
that
boat.
time.
Yeah, sure, I
Yeah.
can imagine.
Her first find ever, a woman had gone out hiking and didn't come back.
Okay.
And they searched for 2 hours, called the deputies in for 2 hours, called her, and we had her in a half hour.
Wow.
So
that's amazing.
She had fallen down a bank. We trailed right to where she had fallen.
You gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel whole. They won't leave your side when you lose control. The ones that don't let you lose your soul.
I'm Jen Reeson. I'm an assistant team leader for our search and rescue team. This old guy is Storm. He's 8. Hank just turned 2 and Indy's 10 months.
So I'm playing dead and Hank has to find me. He's a wilderness air scent dog and he is going to have to find me based on my scent.
We have a big problem this morning. Huge. Our opt-in. I'm doing very badly here. It's getting on me. Shit. I mean,
It's not camping.
of the great traumas that people have survived, I wouldn't call this among them, but I would call it maybe just barely below it. The King County Fair is the largest fair west of the Mississippi, and no, it's not the largest. Is it like a small fact? Is it an insignificant fact?
Border Collie, and you know, it's had a similar connection that I had with Moxie. You know, this dog. We're at Mildred Canopy Park. No problem.
Start again.
Okay.
If you had any idea how many outtakes we had.
We have a whole bloopers reel.
Oh,